أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى أصحابه الغر الميامين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم اجعلنا منهم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا متقبلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We begin as we always do by first and foremost praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thanking Him, acknowledging that He is the only one worthy and deserving of all praise and thanks. And we ask Him to shower His most complete and abundant blessings and protection upon His noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, upon His noble family, upon His shining companions, and upon all of those that follow them until the end of time. And we ask Allah to include us from among them. We ask Allah to teach us what will benefit us, to benefit us through what He has taught us, and to increase us in knowledge and accepted actions. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I hope all of you are doing well and having a fruitful and productive Ramadan so far. This month, we are going to be exploring various topics in regards to character. Good character traits that we should all strive to embody, and bad character traits that we should all struggle to rid ourselves of. We are going to start off this series with a discussion on humility, which in Arabic is called tawadu'. We are starting off with tawadu' because the month of Ramadan is undoubtedly the month of the Quran. And the number one attitude that we must strive to have with the Quran in order for us to receive the promises that it claims to impart, the number one attitude that we must embody as a prerequisite to get any of that light is humility. Coming to the Quran with humility is the key determining factor in being able to benefit from these divine words. The disbelievers of Mecca during the time of the Prophet ﷺ understood Arabic better than any of us today. They understood the words and the profound meanings that they carried. They were there when revelation was coming down, but they did not and could not benefit from the light that the Quran promises to impart because they did not come to the words of Allah with humility. So even though their access to information was far greater than any one of us today, that access to information did absolutely nothing for them. All because they did not have the right attitude. We too must understand that all of the lofty promises of bliss, tranquility, peace of mind, healing, and everything good that the Prophet ﷺ and the Quran itself promises us if we spend time with the words of Allah, those things, those gifts and lights will not happen and will not take place unless we have an attitude of humility with the Quran. An attitude of, I know nothing. I have absolutely no knowledge. Ya Allah, please teach me. We must put aside all of our preconceived notions of right and wrong, what the world has taught us about success and failure, what we may have grew up thinking about justice and oppression. The gifts and lights from the Quran will only come to a person who comes to the Quran with humility. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse number 5, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا من يرتد منكم عن دينه فسوف يأتي الله بقوم يحبونهم ويحبونه أذلة على المؤمنين أعزة على الكافرين يجاهدون في سبيل الله ولا يخافون لومة لائم ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله واسع عليم. Those of you who have believed, whoever leaves his or her religion, then Allah will bring another group of people whom Allah loves and they love Allah. They are humble with the believers and dignified with the disbelievers. They strive hard in the path of Allah and they do not fear the blame of anyone. That is the bounty of Allah that He gives to whomever He wills. Allah is vastly all-encompassing and all-knowing. Here in this ayah, Allah is describing a group of people that love Allah and Allah loves them. a category that all of us want to be included within. What is their description? One of their descriptions is that they are humble with the believers. They do not put themselves above another Muslim. They have good thoughts about their fellow brothers and sisters, and they readily accept apologies from believers. The Muslims are their top priority when it comes to their humility. And on the flip side, they are dignified with the disbelievers. They are not shy about their religion. They are not ashamed of their religion. They are not embarrassed about being Muslims. So here in this ayah, we see two branches of humility. Humility with Allah's creation, especially fellow believers, and humility with Allah's religion, having no shame or embarrassment about Islam and being Muslim, because there is certainty that Islam is the perfect way of life, and anything that goes against Islam, even if it's what's popular, it doesn't matter. Islam trumps everything else. And these people, they do not fear the blame of anyone, not from Muslims, not from non-Muslims, disbelievers. Their humility is perfectly balanced to include confidence, self-confidence. They know that as long as I am doing the right thing, as long as I am obeying Allah, it doesn't matter what other people say. It doesn't matter who makes fun of me, who judges me. I have the confidence to practice Islam properly without being afraid of what other people might think or say about me. Humility with Allah's creation entails that an individual does not use the blessings that Allah has given him or her to put others down or to view themselves as higher or better than others. Rather, the blessings are utilized in accordance with what pleases Allah. The blessings produce gratitude to Allah, and the blessings do not breed entitlement. It is a fact that everybody is different, and some people will literally just have some things better off than others. Some people will have more wealth than others. Some people will have a more socially respectable career than others. Some people will have more education, beauty, power, friends, social skill, anything than others. Humility does not ask that those who have more should deny the fact that they have more. When a person is blessed with something, he or she should not belittle or deny or downplay that blessing. Rather, he or she should ensure that the blessing is not a source of looking down on other people, thinking that one is better than others. And one should be very cautious in ensuring that they attribute those blessings to Allah and not to their own selves. Two thoughts that should never cross the mind of a believer regarding blessings are: 1, I am better than others because of this. And 2, I have this because I deserve it. I worked hard for it. I have this because I'm smart, I'm qualified, I'm good at what I do. The Quran tells the story of Qarun, one of the most wealthy and most arrogant individuals from the children of Israel. And the Quran goes through such lengths and imagery and beautiful language describing his wealth and his treasures and just how incredibly rich he was. And what does Qarun say about his riches? قَالَ إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. I have only been given this because of the knowledge that I have. The only reason I have all of this stuff is because I'm smart. Qarun's story is given to us because it is a prime example of arrogance. And I don't want to get into arrogance too much because we will cover it in depth in the next video. But this snippet of the story is important because it teaches us that to be humble, in order to be humble and have humility, we cannot, absolutely never, attribute the good things we have in life to ourselves. We can never think that what we have in life is because we worked hard for it, because we earned it, because we deserve it, and we are entitled to it. So a believer should never think that he or she is better than others because of a blessing, and a believer should never attribute the blessing to themselves or their hard work and entitlement. Rather, the thoughts of a believer when Allah blesses him or her should be, I am grateful for this. Don't deny the blessing. Don't downplay it. If you are highly educated, don't say, I know nothing. If you have a lot of wealth, don't say, I have been given nothing. Don't downplay the blessing, but be grateful for it. Allah so mercifully and generously blessed me with this, and I'm going to use this blessing now in a manner that pleases Him. I had nothing to do with attaining the blessing. It is all from Allah and His generosity. He didn't have to give me this. He could have given it to anybody, but He blessed me because He is so merciful and so generous. This is the mindset of a humble believer. He or she acknowledges the blessings that Allah has given, is grateful for those blessings and uses them in a proper manner, and attributes the blessings to Allah and Allah alone. So that was the first of the two major branches of humility that this ayah we covered in Surah Al-Ma'idah teaches us. Humility towards Allah's creation. The second major branch of humility is humility towards Allah's religion. This is the primary type of humility that we must embody and strive especially hard in this month, in the beautiful month of Ramadan, to embody, because it is only through humility towards Allah's religion that we can benefit from all that the Quran has to offer. Humility towards Allah's religion, scholars have described it as هو أن لا تعارض بمعقول منقولا. هو أن لا تعارض بمعقول manqula, something written. Humility towards Islam is that you do not use your intellect and mind to oppose that which has been conveyed. Meaning, what has come to us from the Quran, the Sunnah, and the teachings of the religion. Rather, we are to completely submit and surrender to this perfect religion and way of life. Whatever Allah and the Prophet ﷺ command us to do, we do it. And whatever Allah and the Prophet ﷺ prohibit us from, we stay away from it without any doubt or hesitation. And we do not let the contradictions that our mind and our intellect may present get the better of us. We do not permit our limited brains and understandings of the world to guide us in who we are and who we want to be. We currently live in a world wherein society is trying so hard to teach us what is right and what is wrong. And if any of those ideologies conflict with Islam, proper humility towards the religion of Allah is that we throw out the conflict without any hesitation. And on the flip side, if we learn something about Islam that seems to contradict the ideologies that we have grown up under, then again, we have no hesitation in throwing out the conflict and upholding what Islam has to say and Islam's interpretation. Because how can the human intellect stand up against the creator of the human intellect? How can a society that is constantly changing its mind on right and wrong stand up against the one who decreed what is right and wrong for all of humanity until the Day of Judgment? Humility towards Allah's religion means lowering ourselves, accepting our deficient minds, understanding that we cannot understand everything, and submitting to the all-knowing and the all-wise, Al-Alim Al-Hakim. Now, does this mean that we do not ask questions? No, absolutely not. It is okay to have questions. It is beneficial to have questions. It is okay to wonder why certain things are the way that they are in this religion. But the key is that our mindset when we ask these questions, that question should never come from a place of doubt or hatred or ill will. If a person is genuinely curious and has an open mind and an open heart, then no problem, ask away, making sure that you are asking someone qualified. But if a person is so engrossed in what society has molded them to believe, and the questions come from a heart that has already made up its mind on what's right and wrong, and that conception goes against Islam, then the question has no purpose really. Regardless of what the answer is, the person who has this type of outlook, they've already made up their mind that Islam is problematic on whatever issue it might be. So ask questions, but never have a sense of ill will and condescension when asking that question. Never ask questions while looking down upon Islam and its teachings, because that is a surefire indicator of arrogance towards Allah and the Prophet ﷺ and the religion of Islam. And a person like this will not gain access to the beauty, the light, the healing that the Quran promises to impart. The Prophet ﷺ said, no individual lowers him or herself except that رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ, except that Allah raises them up in return. Meaning, whenever we lower ourselves out of humility, whenever we choose to be humble and act with humility, Allah will raise us up in status, in rank, and in reward on the Day of Judgment. If we lower ourselves for Allah's pleasure in this life, if we reject a life of arrogance and pride in this world, Allah will raise us up above others on the Day of Judgment with reward and status. Again, Ramadan is the month of the Quran, and the only way we can develop a healthy, functioning, and beautiful relationship with these divine words is if we come to them with humility. If we understand that our minds are limited and Allah's wisdom is infinite. A mindset of, I know nothing, yet Allah, please teach me. Please tell me how I should live my life, putting aside all of our preconceived notions and ideas. May Allah help us develop our humility, and especially in this month of the Quran, may He help us be humble with His divine words, and He make our humility a cause of reaping the benefits that the Quran holds. Ameen. Wa sallallahu ala khayri khalqika Muhammad walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.